Hey folks, man, this is Monk, and we are back with another episode of Classes of Cinematics, and I'm joined as always with my co-host Bobby Blockbuster.
Yo, don't you know?
Let's get into it. So today, folks, we've got a crime thriller classic called Fargo from 1996. So this film is directed by Joel Coen. It is one of the Coen Brothers films. Joel and Ethan collaborated on the screenplay. And the synopsis is this. Jerry Lundegaard is a car salesman in Minneapolis who has gotten himself into debt and is so desperate for money that he hires two thugs to kidnap his own wife. Jerry will collect the ransom from her wealthy father, paying the thugs a small portion and keeping the rest to satisfy his debts. The scheme collapses when the thugs shoot a state trooper. And this film stars pretty cool cast here. We got Frances McDormand, Steve Buscemi, William H. Macy, Peter Stormare, Kristen Cudrud, John Carroll Lynch, Melissa Peterman, Michael Cezone, Tommy Denman, and more. So this film stands out. I think it's one of the first Coen films. Even people love Blood Simple and that, but I think this was one of the ones where their name kind of went mainstream and was blowing up during award season. And we kind of got, a wider audience that got introduced to the Coen Brothers brand of, these crime stories and their quirkiness,
Yes, absolutely. And, one of the things about this film that I think really just helps it excel is the pacing. The pacing of this film, it sets the tone out gate, and it puts a highlight on these characters that just really seem so simple. Like when you're watching this, you're like, man, are these people capable of really doing these things that we're seeing on screen? And it makes it feel that much more impactful as we're seeing it done. And
I think it kind of grounds this kind of story because in reality, these kind of things are done by everyday people. Like we're used to seeing, I guess, more stylized versions, like something like Goodfellas, where everything seems larger than life. But what I do like about the Coen Brothers aesthetic is it's kind of more rooted in reality. Things feel more grounded. They seem more every day.
Another thing I think that really kind of just, levels this story up is because we get this disclaimer at the beginning. I am a sucker for anything that says it's based on or revolves around true events. That just, for me, it's an instant reel in because, as you watch the movie pertains to this one or any film for that matter, it kind of just, it really plants the seed of thought in your mind where you're just like, man, I wonder what in this film, what I'm about to see was actually real or what actually happened.
Think about this film though, come to find out, it is mostly made up.
It is.
And that disclaimer was put in the front as a gag.
As a gag.
So really what's crazy, it is kind of based on true events. Like there are things that happened in this film that actually did occur. So that is interesting,
Yes. And I'm glad that you just pointed that out.
And honestly, man, this kind of scheme, it has happened before in real life. Like where someone's pulled one of these kidnapping schemes and or tried this and blamed it on something else. And
the reason why I don't knock it, why I wasn't like, oh man, they lied, is because, my favorite movie in life is Return of the Living Dead, and it has the same disclaimer in front of that. Oh, this is all based on true events.
This is a film about a crime scheme that went bad, and I think that setup is pretty cool. It leads us to some interesting, circumstances and interesting characters, outside of this setting, with some, go ahead and get that out of the way too. This takes place in North Dakota, I guess. And so it's wild because that gives it a really crazy Midwestern aesthetic. It's wintertime, it's snow on the ground, it's you got a harsh weather
cold
environment.
Yes.
Yeah, and then this quirky accent of the region.
The Minnesota nice accent, yes. And that is just, and that also just really adds to the character arcs in every way because they all seem so nice. I mean, like even when they're angry, they're still nice. Like you rarely hear them curse or get frustrated. I mean, there's one part when William H. Macy's character Jerry Lundegaard, he gets so frustrated with the cop when she's interrogating him. He's like, "You want me to do this? Fine. You're darn tootin'. I'm gonna do it." It's like who talks like that for real? They say yeah like 179 times. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All this it's just
there's big time crimes that are going on in this small town environment.
Yes, and one thing I do like about the dialogue is it takes on a personality of its own. It is a character in itself in this film, and you kind of really hear that. But when we dive into the actual character list, like I said, what we get from William H. Macy, I think he kills his his role as the softback scumbag. Like he's so unassuming and seems like he just is not ready for the course of events that is taking place, and even though, yes, he is fully responsible for everything that happens. He's the one who puts everything in motion, responsible for getting his wife kidnapped, for all the people that lost their lives because of that, and just everything that's happening. There are other points in the film where you kind of lose sight of that for a second and almost feel bad for him.
I do. Like on that side of his circumstances, I do feel bad in that respect for he can't catch a break. Like we first see him, he's trying to negotiate a deal, that's going to get him out of debt if it pulls through. But his potential backers are like, why don't we just do it ourselves?
Yeah,
pretty much like we're going to steal. Yeah, we're stealing your idea that you brought to us.
And in the meantime, in between time, before he was plotting to get his wife kidnapped and ransomed, he's extorting money from the car dealership that he works for. That's why he initially needs money in the first place, because everything he touches turns to shit. And there are, like yet again, people in the real world where they just fall out of the unlucky tree and hit every branch. You know what I'm saying? And even though you keep trying to do these things and try to progressively move forward,
it's let me grab, keep snapping.
Don't work.
On the way
down. I love the fact that like he looks innocent. When you look at his face, every time something happens, like one thing I will give him, I am not supporting his character, or the things that he did, but every time he gets gut punched, he just has this look on his face. He eats it and then comes up with another plan on the fly.
Yeah, I don't think he's a bad guy per se. It seems like this desperation has forced him into this.
Yes.
But it's interesting to see later on, how he's dealing with things.
Oh yeah,
as things fall down, and you're like, all right, man, this guy does have a mean streak in him.
Hell
he's
yeah,
he's kind of scummy.
And not for nothing, I mean, shit, we hear every day, man. Good people do bad things.
But that's also indicative of a Coen Brothers film. It's like there's a lot of characters that operate in this gray, weird kind of space. For the most part.
Yes, and then what I also another character. I mean, the one who really stands out. She chews up every scene that she's in is Frances McDormand, who is actually married to one of the Coen brothers.
Yeah.
I think it's the director Joel, and they got married after they did Blood Simple. But she plays local sheriff Marge, and Gunderson, yes, and dude, her role is so impactful. She is the dominant force in this story arc, and we don't even see her till about 40 minutes in, you know what I'm saying? And what I really like about her is, like I said, when it comes down to these simple people in this simple town living a simple life, she just seems to excel above the rest, like as a police officer. Because a
little bit, yeah.
And even though like in a big city, she might not flourish the way
that's crazy. That's why I said a little bit, because it's like
she's
just doing the bare minimum too, but it's enough to solve this case that really ain't that complicated. Like
her bare minimum is a mile high.
Because the other guys, they're coasting. They're coasting by. They're slacking completely. But at least she's on duty. Like, all right, we gotta figure this out. The other guys are resigned to take whatever simple explanation to keep them from having to do any real work.
Yes, like when she asked her coworker, like the deputy or whatever, she was like, "Yeah, did you get and did you look in the other cop that died in his book?" And he was like, "Yeah, I saw. He wrote down half the plates. He wrote down DLR, but he must have got shot and killed before he wrote down the rest." He was like, so I put out an APB for any license plates that start with DLR. She was like, I don't agree with your police work. DLR could mean dealer tags. And he's like, don't you know?
It's crazy, man. You get the sense that you should be the captain, because the way these other guys are acting in the force, man, is just, they're really just off. Like
yes,
it's almost to the point where she's annoying them by keeping by asking too many questions. It's like that's a trope too in some of these procedurals where the one cop, he's trying to do the job and everyone's like, man, get out of here, man. Like,
you're working too hard. We're trying to get employee of the month plaque.
We're trying to wrap this up. We just want to close this.
But the cool thing is also, I guess, is just with the way the town moves or the people in it. But she always has a calm, like subtle demeanor. Like she doesn't belittle the people that that she's kind of outsmarting or outwitting. She doesn't make them feel bad, like, oh, you doofus,
I feel like the attitude would be a little different in New York City.
Oh, absolutely. I think a different job would probably end up had too. You get that pink slip real swift.
I guess speaking of Pink, Mr. Pink.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Steve Buscemi in here.
Good segue.
He's our main bad guy here, and he's the main. He's leading this pack of kidnappers, so to speak. He's got some hired muscle, but they don't get along, which also makes for interesting banter and stuff during the film. But Buscemi's he's hardened. He's kind of a scumbag. He's about this life,
Yeah.
But he has such an odd look. I think it puts you off for a minute until we get later in the film and he starts doing some shit like
I'm laughing because you bring up the look, because every time someone who sees him describes him, they're like, he looks funny looking,
Yes, man. Like that's one of his things, man. He's the funniest looking goon.
And you're right, because him and his name's Carl, and then there's Guerre, who is his other guy, the guy that's rocking with his partner, and they're oil and water. Because Buscemi is he's obnoxious, he's outspoken, he's irritable, he's almost got like that Napoleon complex thing going on, and the other dude is calm and like almost methodical. Like you can tell he's always
psychopath
thinking. He's just a psycho.
Like
he's thinking about what he's going to do.
I don't even know if he's thinking. He's just not affected. He's just not there. Like he's, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's almost like you get that description of some serial killers. They're just cold.
Yeah.
And like he comes across like that, man. Cause this is probably my favorite scene of the whole movie. After they've got the wife in the trunk and they're driving down the highway and they get pulled over. And Buscemi's just trying to talk to him. Officers pressing,
trying to pay him off.
Yeah. And then he even put some money up, and the cop is like, "Hey, nah, that's not gonna work." And all of a sudden, you just hear like, "Blah!" My man reaches, grabs a gun, shoots his officer. And he's like I said, it's the coldness of it, because like even as grimy as Buscemi is, he's still trying to create the least amount of waves. Doing what he does, which isn't very nice.
And dude, Guerre was wild west, quick with that. He grabbed his head, grabbed the gun out the glove box, wham.
But that scene is so crazy the way it breaks down, because I feel like if Guerre had more care in him, I don't know why he does it. I feel like someone else will probably bark orders at this guy, he'll snap to it, but somehow he doesn't respect
Buscemi at all.
Yeah, Carl at all.
But
if he would have got out of that car immediately and helped Carl get that officer's body in the trunk, they probably could have been on the way before those headlights showed up. You know what I'm saying?
No, but he didn't. He, like you say, he didn't respect him, because he looks at him after he shot the cop in the head. He's like, "You clean this up." Like he was like, "I'm gonna sit here and chill."
And then that scene is so crazy to me because Carl's struggling with the officer's body. He's trying to pull him to the side or whatever so they can get the fuck out of there.
Yeah,
they could have just rolled out. But anyway. That's so suspenseful, bro. Such great filmmaking. The headlights coming down, you see them, and they get closer.
The long dark highway, yeah, dude.
And then it's just you see it's a dude in the car with his chick, and they look over, and they're like, "What the fuck is that?" And they just floor it.
Yeah.
And then Guerre goes into gear. He's right after them, dude, with the gun out, and I'm like, "Yo, this is nuts!" And he's just whipping. He's like, "Is he going to be able to catch them?" Because it really don't look like he is. After a while, and all of a sudden, the headlights just they disappear, and you realize, oh man, they probably were so panicked and so they just wrecked on this icy road.
Of the weather conditions. Yes.
And these roads are long. There's not like out here where there's a street light every 50 yards. You know what I'm saying? This is nothing. It's just your headlights. So I could see if you're dipping too fast and you hit one of these curves and you're not prepared for it.
The cars are on the road, and then also, like you said, the panic of just knowing that a cutthroat killer is chasing you down.
Yeah, you already see a body. They killed a cop. They killed a cop, bro.
They killed a cop. What do you think they're going to do to you? You know what I mean? So, yes, what we get from that tag team. But these two, they are villains. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. That scene definitely establishes how dangerous they are. Even though that kidnapping scene was a bit intense, but this shows you they still feel like bungling. They still feel like the Home Alone guys.
They're just a little more put together.
Yeah, up until this point, they feel like the Home Alone guys, and they just grab this woman up. But that scene just really shows like how, like you said, how crazy they are.
Yeah, they are cutthroat killers. Yeah. But speaking of villains, like I said, I spoke on him a little bit. Harve Presnell as Wade, Jerry's father-in-law. he is a great distraction character because what he does, he is such a bully to Jerry. You know what I'm saying? Where every time he's on the screen, you're looking at him like, man, why is he so mean to Jerry? You know, you kind of like you get a soft spot for Jerry. Like, damn, like, you know, this dude don't respect him. You know what I'm saying? Not as, you know, not as his wife's husband, not as the father of his grandchild. You know, and then like you said, when he backdoors him and takes his idea for the parking lot and stuff.
It's crazy. It's subtle, but like I had put this thing on earlier and I noticed it. Like it hit me. And that scene where Jerry's trying to get the money, you know, and Jerry, like, his last plea is like, it'll be great for me and my wife, you know, and the look on his face is like, it's like, oh, he's like, man, fuck, you know, fuck my daughter. Like, this ain't about her future. And I'm like, damn, this dude is so cold.
Yeah, no, but he looks, he looks at Jerry, he's like, they gonna be all right.
Yeah.
You know, he's like,
I got him.
I got them, but you on your own, chief.
But it's like, dude, this guy's trying, bro.
But you know, but see,
wild, bro.
And that's the thing too, like, cause then also like, you know, later on in the film when Jerry's trying to get the ransom money, Wade's like, nah, man, I'm delivering the money. I'm going to do this. He was like, honestly, bro, I don't want you messing this up. You know what I'm saying? So you know, the more I watched it this week, you know, because initially when I first watched this, and I didn't like Wade. I was like, man,
he probably doesn't even trust though Jerry.
If he would have eased up on Jerry a little bit, maybe Jerry would have took a different course path. But the more I watched it this week, I think that Wade kind of saw through Jerry's bullshit.
Yeah. I mean, think about it. He knows what he's been doing with the dealership, so there's that.
It's his dealership.
So,
you know what I'm saying?
So maybe his hard edge toward Jerry has been earned
because he knows he's a scumbag.
That's the thing, yo. Like this movie, I think is great because we're picking up in the middle of something. So there's things with Jerry that we don't know that transpired between him and Wade. So all we got to go off is the context clues of their relationships and how they're responding to each other and acting.
That's it. And, you know, speaking of relationships, too, I want to shout out John Carroll Lynch. He plays Norm, Margie's husband. And, you know, it's nice because...
He's good, though. I like this.
Yeah, I mean, it really brings, like, a wholesomeness to this film with Margie and Norm's relationship dynamic because the only time you see them is when they're either laid up, you know, in the bed, you know, embracing each other, like watching TV, just, you know, chilling, or out eating. You know what I'm saying? Because at the same time, you know, Margie's also 7 months pregnant.
Yeah.
So that also adds to her character. Like, it's like, man, not only is she doing all this shit, she's doing this, you know, deep into her pregnancy. And he's so supportive and everything. And it's nice to see that happening because it brings a softness to this movie where otherwise it would just really be a lot of death and violence.
It's another Coen quirk, yo. Like
you know,
it's just, like I said, man, they're good at these movies. Like Scorsese's not probably putting that in his movie.
Nah.
You know, it's just a different approach to the same kind of, you know, subject matter. But what
he's like, nah, everybody's single.
or the wives, they only come out for the special occasion.
Exactly.
They take their fur coat because they're not supposed to be spending no money.
Exactly. And on Thursday we bring out the girlfriends. You know.
It's wild, man. It's an interesting dynamic, man.
But you know,
I like what they do.
another thing that really, I really love about this film is the way it is shot. The cinematography was done by Roger Deakins, and I mean, he captures some scenes.
There's some cool stuff with this landscape, this environment that they're shooting in.
Like I said, like we already touched on that one scene with the dark road and everything. But then the way that they were able to create, you know, this cold environment. I mean, North Dakota is like that apparently. But
I like when Jerry gets denied the deal when they talk about he walking out to the parking lot and it's all white, but you just see the posts from the parking lot with the little trees planted in them, and it's just like checkered. I'm like, yo, that's a poster, bro. Like that's crazy right there. Just the framing, like. Yeah, man.
I mean, and then he's just out there scraping the ice off his windshield and stuff, or even like the scenes where it's not funny. And this is where, you know, like I said, the Coen Brothers with their dark humor when they first pull when the two goons pull up to the lake house and they have the wife and she gets out the car with the bag. She tries to run and they just laughing at her because she's tripping and falling over trees and stuff. It's like this guy, Roger Deakins, he makes it a point to make sure that we are fully immersed into the landscapes and we feel this whole North Dakota vibe. And it's wild because the film is called Fargo. It only takes place in Fargo for the first 2 minutes of the movie when the initial deal is done. The rest of it is shot in or Brainerd. I think the rest of the film takes place in Brainerd, which is like miles and miles down the road. But the Coen Brothers said that they decided to call it Fargo because it sounds a lot cooler than calling the movie Brainerd.
Yeah. They definitely they definitely killed with that because like I said, man, honestly, this was my first time watching this film. Like, but I just remember that name popping around 96, 97, just being everywhere, award season, and people were, talking about this film. So that's, real interesting. That was smart too, the name of Fargo.
Absolutely.
But like you said, man, it's just cool, man, how they weave in that. And even the scene where Carl's burying the money, man, and you just see that long line of fence, and it's crazy because it's like, there's a few shots like that where we just see wide open space and maybe one person in the middle doing something. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it just has such a cool effect, man. Like there's so many shots in this film that it's like if you just took that screenshot, this is poster time.
Yes. But it adds to the emptiness and the nothingness that some of these characters feel on the inside. Like they really enhance that. You know what I mean?
No, it was cool, man.
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely appreciate that.
What is also cool is the music. It was done by Carter Burwell, and Carter Burwell, and he actually worked on every Coen Brother film except for one. I think it was a Lipstick something or other. Can't remember the name. Drawing a blank on the name, but I think that it does what it's supposed to do because it's not like an official like orchestra score and everything. But
it's sparse, man. It's not. It's like that's the thing too. I think of their style.
Yeah,
there is not really a lot of music. Like
no.
if there is, their accent, periods where they'll chime in and hit you with something, or they'll play like a commercial song in the background.
Yeah, I mean, and they do it the right way. It really just is to enhance the scene, just like putting A1 sauce on steak. You know what I'm saying? Just a little bit extra. You know what I'm saying? Just to make every bite better. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that's really cool. And I mean, not for nothing. The movie was not only does it have a large following, it's very successful. It came in on a $7 million budget. Box office made $60.6 million.
Yeah, that's
you know what I'm saying?
Can you make a movie like this at $7 million in 2024?
Beautifully done for $7 million. Beautifully done. Beautifully done.
Strange Darling, something comparative that looks as good and is as crazy with such a small budget. But yeah, it's hard, bro. And to get these stars,
Yeah. Well, then and then also not just the stars, but I mean, it won a boatload of awards. Frances McDormand won Best Actress won an Academy Award for Best Actress, and it also won Best Original Screenplay. You know what I'm saying? And then a laundry list of other awards that this film won. Top of high critical responses and everything, large fan following, which then leads it into having its own TV show.
Yeah.
That also became successful.
It's crazy, bro. Like I think the TV show eclipses this, man, in a lot of ways. But you don't get that without this. But still, it's crazy, because a lot of times when they do those kind of spinoffs and the TV show off the movie, the quality isn't there. There's something else that came out last year I think was just as good or better, and I would say probably that the Smiths, that Smith show based off Mr. and Mrs. Smith, that was something too. I think outclasses the movie, but I think it works because what's dope about this film, we're getting a slice of life. So I think what's dope about the TV show version is we're getting this, but also more time to explain the story and flesh it out and get more characters. And get more in depth with it,
Here's the thing. So initially, you know what I'm saying, the first pilot that came out was actually when it came out? It came out in 97. And the Coen Brothers were not involved. It was directed by Kathy Bates, and it was supposed to take place shortly after the events that took place in the movie. The pilot flopped big time, right? So then, of course, FX then they didn't want to just call it a wrap.
Let me ask you this. So what was the premise of that? Was it the same characters?
Same characters.
Continue? See, that's a problem.
Same characters.
That's
continuation of the characters.
I think why the new show works so well is it's almost like an anthology. It's happening in that same kind of environment, but each season has been a different story, a different angle, a little bit of overlap, but not much. But we're just telling different stories within this Fargo environment.
Yeah, well, see, and that's the thing. In 2014, FX took another crack at it, and that's when they gave us the first season. And like you said, The only thing that makes all the seasons cohesive is that the fact that they take place in North Dakota. You know what I'm saying? But like you said, different characters. Like you can watch
different time periods.
You can watch season 1, season 5, season 3. You don't have to watch them in succession, which I love. I love series that are like that because you can jump in at any point and still feel like you ain't miss a beat, you know. And then they just the 5th season just wrapped up in 2023, and they're currently now working on the 6th season. So it does what it needs to do from an entertainment standpoint, and because you know
they're doing a good job with this.
Yes, also I think a lot of the success with the new one that we now have is the Coen Brothers are also were brought on as executive producers.
So they're part of the storytelling that we're getting with that new series.
So it
helps a lot.
It has their touch on it. You know what I'm saying? Which that's what the pilot was missing a little bit. But I mean, I've never seen it. I do want to see if I can track it down because they said Kathy Bates
might be on YouTube.
I'm sure it is, but
Well, I mean, overall, man, this is a great film to watch and check out. If you have this gap in your filmography, definitely go fill that and check it out, man. It's a quick watch too, man. It just surprised me the length of this, man. This is like an hour and a half, almost on the dot. So it goes pretty fast. It gets this point across, and really crazy characters and a crazy situation, man. Especially when we get to that wood chipper. Whoa, that is nuts.
And initially that scene they didn't give us what we see now. It was more snow over the blood, where they started giving us the blood in the special editions and the re-releases of the film. We're like, we can be a little more violent. And apparently the wood chipper is in some museum now, and somewhere in Minnesota or something like that. I was reading some trivia. I don't know exactly where it's at, but it's a piece of art now. So it didn't just chop up Carl. Now it's a landmark.
That's what's up, man. Well, I think we're gonna wrap this up, folks, and we're gonna be back soon with more. Check us out on Instagram. We're at Classes of Cinematics. We're also on TikTok now, man. Classes of Cinematics. We got more clips and all that stuff. Catch me at Monkey Blood on Twitter and Instagram.
And this is Bobby Blockbuster. As always, you can catch me on the next show.
Yeah, we out of here. Peace.